The Indian rupee has lost 50% of its value against the US dollar over the last 15 years. Does that mean that Indians have lost half of their savings? Have Indians lost 50% of their wealth? Well, the answer is not as simple as it seems. In this video, we will decode three very important things. Number one, how this rupee weakening affects your savings, investments, and your daily expenses. Number two, who gets affected the most? And most importantly, number three, what can you do to protect yourself? So let's begin. For more such insightful videos, please make sure you subscribe to the channel. Let's say there are two fathers. Both of them are saving 20,000 every month for 15 years. And their goal is actually to save for their child's future education. But the only difference is that a father over here wants his son to study in Delhi. But this father wants his daughter to study in Boston. This is one slight change, but it will matter the most. Let's focus on the father who wants to send his daughter to Boston. He has figured out everything. What the tuition fees is going to be, what living expense look like, and he thinks somewhere around $50,000 is what he needs to manage for. But over the period of time, let's say the tuition fee remains the same, the living expenses don't go up, there is no college hike fee or anything related to it. But during that period of time, rupee was weakening, which means that $50,000 when converted into Indian rupee was costing somewhere around 22 lakhs. But later, over the period of 10 years, that $50,000 converted close to 48 to 50 lakh rupees. Now nothing changed. The college was same, the campus was same, the plan was same. But that exchange rate kept moving and that affected his pockets heavily. And the same thing applies to your international travel as well. Let's say you want to plan for a Europe trip 5 years from now. And if today you check out the hotel prices, they cost somewhere around 150 euros a night. Which means to say, after 5 years, if the rupee depreciates, if you run the math, convert it into Indian rupees, what is costing you today might be costlier to you tomorrow. You see, the way you account for inflation for your financial goals, similarly, you also need to account for rupee depreciation. What I'm trying to say here is, let's say we are talking about that education goal that fathers had. Now, in this case, you need to account for education inflation, which can be for around 4%, plus the rupee depreciation, let's say, which is also 4%. So in total, you need to account for somewhere close to 8%. Because you see, these costs don't add up, they compound, and that can affect your pockets heavily. So the answer that whether you are being affected by rupee depreciation, then if your goals are in foreign currency, whether it's for education purposes, medical treatment, or international travel for that matter, and if your investments are only in India, then you are being directly impacted by that rupee depreciation. Now let's talk about the father who wants to send his son to Delhi. For him, he is doing a monthly SIP of 20,000 for 15 years for a goal which is in Indian rupees. Now, there are a lot of people who get confused that since the rupee has dropped from 45 to 96 per dollar, does that mean that they have also become half wealthy? But here, I want you to pause and ask this question to yourself, that if your expenses are not in dollars, then why are you measuring your wealth in dollars? Think about someone who retired in Mysore 15 years ago, or someone who wants to retire in Mysore today. Now, their expenses are going to be on groceries, transportation, electricity bill, or maybe their weekend trips to Karnataka. Now, does dollar determine how comfortable their retirement is going to be? Well, if all of their expenses are in Indian rupee, then they are probably concerned about what the price of curd rice is going to be over the years, or how much an auto rickshaw is going to charge when they want to pay a visit to the doctor. And in these cases, all of it is affected by inflation. You see, if your purchasing power goes down by 5 to 6%, it's not the exchange rate you need to blame. It's actually the inflation you need to cater for. Having said that, if you have never spent even a single dollar in your life, the dollar can still make its way to your lives. Let me quickly explain how. Think of an average Sunday at a supermarket. You went there to pick up an olive oil bottle, but you also thought of picking up an imported cheese. Along with that, you also added to your cart a protein powder which was of an American brand. Now, all these items at some point of time were priced in foreign currency before reaching to your final shelf. Now, if the rupee weakens, the importer has to pay more rupees to get these products to the shelf. Nothing changed. The cheese was the same, no new ingredients were added to the protein powder. Olive oil also did not turn fancier, but just because the exchange rate for the rupee fell down, in that case, more rupees were spent to bring on board, and that is when the extra cost was added to you at the billing counter. Now, this is the direct way of you being impacted by the imported inflation. But here is where it gets interesting. What about all those things that have absolutely nothing foreign about them? Let me paint this picture for you. Let's say it's a Sunday morning and your partner cooks rajma chawal for you. And now you're thinking, what is rajma chawal to do with dollar? The rajma was grown in India. The rice was grown in India by a farmer. You bought it from a local Kiryana store. No dollar in sight. But let's walk the chain backwards. That rajma was grown by a farmer. A farmer uses fertilizer for his crop. Now, a big chunk of that fertilizer uses some raw material which is imported. Now, when the rupee weakens, the company that is importing that raw material for the fertilizer will cost extra for the farmer. Now, for that farmer to raise that crop, he increases that price and he sells the same crop to the wholesaler at a higher price. Now, that wholesaler is going to pass that price to the Kiryana store, and that Kiryana store is going to raise that price for you. Even though none of them directly imported anything from outside the country, and yet somehow dollar crept into your lives. Now take that same logic and apply it to the truck which is actually responsible for taking that crop from the farmer and providing it to mandi, and from your mandi it comes to your nearest neighborhood. Now trucks runs on diesel and India imports 85% of its crude oil. When crude oil is refined, that is when you get diesel, which means to say, if the rupee weakens, that diesel gets expensive, trucking gets expensive, and trucks are responsible for a lot of movement of vegetables, medicines, clothes, and whatnot. And this is the indirect way you get affected by imported inflation. The good news though, and most importantly, it is not as dramatic as people think about it. As per one of RBI's studies, articles suggested how much of a fall in rupee actually affects your shopping cart. And you'd be surprised to know that number is somewhere close to 0.7% if there is a fall of 10% in the Indian rupee. Not 10%, not 5%, less than 1% gets added to your shopping cart. You see, you are getting affected, but it's very slow and a quiet pressure. Now we come to the most important aspect of this video, what we need to do in order to protect ourselves. Number one, if your goals are in foreign currency, then make sure that you are saving in the foreign currency as well. Simple as that. But let's just say for some reason XYZ you are not able to save in foreign currency. In that case, you need to account for two things when you are saving in the Indian rupee. Number one, account for inflation of that goal. Number two, also account for your rupee depreciation. Add these two numbers, whatever number you get, that you need to account for when you are doing your financial planning for a goal which is in foreign currency. Second, even though all your goals are in India, but you should still consider international exposure. Now, I don't say this because there are the companies that are not in India that you can invest in, like those big AI giants or semiconductors or global luxury brands. I mean, yes, one is that reason, but another important reason is the currency diversification. Because if your portfolio has some foreign asset to it, then it can protect you when there is a long-term rupee depreciation. Now the third point, if you're wondering, does buying gold help when there's fall in the rupee? Then the answer is yes, and here's why. The gold is priced globally in US dollar. So when you are buying gold in India, indirectly you are buying a dollar denominated asset. If the price of the gold remains wherever it is, but the rupee weakens, in that case in India, the price of the gold rises because now you have to pay more Indian rupees to buy that dollar priced ounce. This is the reason over the period of time, gold has earned the reputation of a currency hedge. So has the falling rupee been destroying your savings all these years? Well, by now you must have realized that it's not a simple yes or no answer. It all depends on what your goals are and where do you plan to spend your money. For more such insightful videos, do check out our other regional channels. I hope you like this video. See you in the next one. Until then, happy investing.